Hello.
Today, 你好. Okay, today we are in Shenyang. We are doing a layover flight here. So I decided to do some interview with my captain today. His name is Peter, and he has been in the airline industry for 12 years being a pilot. So here I have some questions to ask him in what is it like to be a pilot. So
normally for me, I can start preparing for the flight even on the way to the airport. I'd be checking on my phone. There's applications you can check the weather at the destination you're flying to. Like tomorrow we return to Bangkok.
Yeah.
So tonight in the hotel I can check what weather I can expect in Bangkok. I have an idea. Then on the bus to the airport I can check again, and
you will share with us.
Yeah, then for the first thing when I get to the airport, then we get the official documentation. We get the official weather in Bangkok. I can check again. Then there will be the flight plans telling you how much fuel you need to carry, telling you if there's any typhoons this time of year, you know, it's wet season, telling you if there's any runway closures, any airport closures, anything specific about the route you're flying to, the airport you're flying to, or any of the diversions airports that you might use, anything different out of the ordinary at those airports that you need to know. This will then help you make a decision for how much fuel you're going to carry. You're going to know the flight time, how long it's going to take with the wind, and with this, all this information together, you speak then with the co-pilot at the airport, and you make a decision how much fuel to carry.
But it will be suggested by the dispatcher?
Yeah, they will have the minimum fuel, they will suggest the minimum fuel on that day, and then if you feel you need more, for whatever reason, then you take more. And then you brief the cabin crew on the weather, turbulence you can expect in the flight, because that will affect how they do their job as well. Flight time, and if there's any defects in the airplane, like any seats are broken and toilets that are not working correctly, anything different with the airplane that needs to be shared, any information.
Yeah, and this will be actually the first time that you encounter with the cabin crew.
Yeah.
Because we are in the same team, so we need to develop the teamwork. Actually, if you are in a bigger airline, there might be the first time that you meet each other. So it's very important that you make the first contact with each other, knowing who your captain is and know your cabin crew. So
exactly, it's a very good opportunity for the flight deck to let the cabin crew know that they need to speak up if they see anything, or smell any smell that's unfamiliar, like a burning smell or any acrid smell. If they hear anything, any noises from the doors or anything unusual,
abnormal,
they need to be able to feel confident to share that information to the flight crew. So this is a good opportunity at the start of the day to let everyone know that all their information is appreciated, and to make sure to speak up if they see anything that's abnormal.
That's very important from the cockpit, to encourage people to speak up any abnormality. Yeah,
exactly. So it's and that's the first point, like you said, in the day where you introduce everybody as, okay, we're a team on this flight, and let's all work together to make sure that it's safe. Number one. And for it to be safe, you have to tell us if there's anything abnormal or anything out of the ordinary.
And then we done the briefing.
Then we do once the briefing is complete, you've got to go to the aircraft. You aim to arrive at the aircraft about 60 minutes before departure.
1 hour before.
1 hour before. The cabin crew will then go into the cabin, and you will do your separate duties, which is safety, security checks. Exactly.
Safety equipment.
Takes time to do all this.
Yeah.
We will do the same in the flight deck. We will also check our safety equipment. The fire gloves, the halon, fire extinguishers. We'll also have to set up the aircraft. All the systems, the computer system must be set up, the air conditioning system must be set up, the fuel system must be set up, the electrical system must be set up. Basically what that means is we will have to put all the switches in the correct places.
Okay.
And then cross-check.
And then cross-check.
Just like the cabin crew will
do the cross-check.
Cross-checks, we will do the
cross-check. With the door and every safety equipment. To make sure that we really done our job. It's not like one-man thing, right?
Exactly.
So the first officer and the captain will do the cross-check.
They'll cross-check with each other. They'll make sure that everything is in the correct position for the start of the flight.
Yeah.
Then the captain will need to make sure that the fuel has been uplifted correctly, the correct amount of fuel. To double check with the cabin crew that the cabin has been checked for safety and security. Things like the cargo has to be loaded correctly, and we have to get documentation proving that the cargo has been loaded correctly. The water has been uploaded onto the aircraft, so we have enough water for the flight. We have the waste system has been emptied, so the toilets can be used during the flight. The engineer will have to do a check of the aircraft as well, outside and inside. One of the flight crew will do an outside check, a walk around as well. So all these factors combine, all these bits of paperwork that are proof that all these checks have been done by each individual member of the team. When everything's ready, then we're ready to board the aircraft.
Oh, then it's ready to board the aircraft.
Sometimes you can board during this process, but
is there an ultimate thing that you have to be done before boarding the aircraft?
Safety and security checks, obviously, number one, by the cabin crew. Everything else we can do
when passenger boarding.
When passengers are boarding, depending on what country you're in with the fuel. Then once the passengers are on board, and the fuel's on board, and the cargo's on board, these are all going on at the same time. Then we're ready to start the flight. We can close the doors. We can request from air traffic control clearance to pushback. This is the position where you may encounter a delay due to maybe too much traffic in the airport you're in.
Or the weather.
Or the weather at the destination. Yeah, you might be delayed a little bit here sometimes. You might get an air traffic control time restriction. It's called a slot. But normally, maybe 80% of the time, or 90% of the time, we go on time, or we go early. And it's only the occasional delay we can expect from air traffic control. Then once we get going, we start our taxi. One pilot will taxi, which is like driving the airplane to the runway.
滑行 in Chinese.
What is it?
滑行 taxi.
Washing the aircraft to the runway. And then one person will taxi and the other person will be monitoring the taxi route and making sure that you're going in the right direction. And because some airports are quite big and it's quite a complicated route to get to the runway. So we're cross-checking each other all the time. Meanwhile, the cabin crew are preparing the cabin, and they will give us some time during the taxi. They will give us a signal, which we hear as a ding, like a noise, and then we also see on our screen it comes up cabin ready. So that means
because we press something.
Yeah, that you press the button in the back and then we get the cabin ready. We cannot take off obviously until the cabin is ready.
Of course.
And normally it's one of the last things in our checklist is the cabin ready. Then we are ready to accept clearance to line up onto the runway, and then we wait for clearance to take off from the runway. The very busy periods of flight for us are taxi, taking off, and landing. They're critical phases of flight. These are, like, on the ground, it seems like the flight hasn't started yet, but actually it's a very critical phase because you're moving very close to other aircraft sometimes, and it can be very big airports, and so it's a very critical phase of flight. Obviously taking off is very critical as well. The engines are going to full power for the first time. You're flying very close to the ground at high speeds. So it's a critical phase of flight. It takes about 20 minutes to half an hour sometimes to get up to the cruise. Once you're in the cruise level, it's like a low activity phase of flight. The autopilot is now doing most of the work, and your job is to monitor the autopilot. The autopilot will do the paperwork and the radio. You're checking also the fuel to make sure it's being used at the correct rate. They're not using too much fuel, so there's no leak, for example. That the fuel is going down as you expect it to go down, as it should go down. So it's a cross-check with the fuel. You're talking to air traffic control. And
30 minutes?
Every 30 minutes you do a fuel check. Or ballpark.
How about with the airport traffic control?
That's like constant, really. They're telling you. You can hear
now
them.
you are entering some territory.
Exactly. Yeah, you can enter from Taiwan airspace into China airspace, and then you have to talk to a different controller. And then you have to, maybe there is weather on your route, so you have to take a diversion around the weather. Maybe there's traffic, so you have to divert from traffic.
ATC will tell you.
ATC will tell you, but you will also see on your screen in case they don't see, so you can see. It's like a cross check again. And
so that's it. Cruising. and
then you prepare for arrival. So you have to get the weather you get the updated weather for tomorrow for us in Bangkok. So you get the latest weather again in Bangkok. See if any storms have developed. This time of year is common. You will then plan which runway you expect to land on, and that will help you decide when you want to go down, when you want to start your descent.
But in the flight plan already say you're going to land at which runway, right?
But it will depend. The weather can change sometimes unexpectedly.
Okay.
So if the weather changes, if the wind changes, then the runway will change.
So ATC will tell you.
ATC will tell you, but you will also
know from the weather.
Know from the weather, yeah.
That comes out the weather.
Yeah, the weather.
The printout.
Yeah, exactly.
Then
exactly.
they will show on which runway you will.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, yeah, you will check the weather there, decide on the runway, and you would brief. You have to brief the co-pilot. You have to talk to each other about the plan for the arrival, the exact specific route you will take to get from where you are in the cruise. What route you're going to take to the runway. What route you can expect, and any threats or any dangers that might be expected to come, like high terrain, storms, could be snow. Yeah, it could be just any like lots of different possibilities there. Depends on where you're flying to. The different threats will arise. Then once you have the briefing complete, you do your checklist. Make your PA to the passengers.
The checklist for landing.
Checklist for landing.
We are in the landing already.
It would be like a descent checklist,
descent
and then an approach checklist, and then a landing checklist finally.
Oh, many checklists.
So there's a couple of checklists on the way down, and then you start your descent. It takes about normally 30 minutes to go down to the ground, and hopefully a successful landing. You disconnect the autopilot on the way down in the descent, and you fly manually normally.
Oh, okay.
And so this is again a critical phase of flight because you're flying close to the ground. There's terrain, there's obstacles. Can be flying quite fast. So this is a critical phase of flight, obviously, until you get on the ground and taxi and park back in the stand.
That's the end of the job. When we landed, before you leave the aircraft, you have to cross-check with the engineer, right?
Yeah. Then there's an after landing checklist. Okay. And there's a shutdown checklist. Then you will do all the paperwork and make sure everything has been signed correctly. It's like it should be. The times and the fuel has been all recorded correctly. The engineer will then come and take over the aircraft, and he is then responsible for the aircraft, as you and the cabin crew will
leave the aircraft for the airport. Okay, that's the normal typical day of a flight crew's duty.
Yeah.